Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like the Cardinal trade pieces, don't really hold much value. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hey, Nate H.
If you have an idea for the opening bet, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Or you can submit via the Bird Scored like friend of the show Jake Wood did with that one. If you're interested in joining the Bird Scored, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Hambone, it's been 2 weeks since we last chatted. Probably good for both of us. Welcome back.
Yeah, like a detox. I feel clean.
Yeah. Welcome back to the States. I know you've been back for a little while now. We got a packed show as always, don't we, Hambone?
Stuffed to the gills, Nathan.
Gills. Fishing.
Hey!
You're obsessed. I saw a picture of you with like 4 fish. I assume that was your haul for the week.
Yeah, it's so funny. You know, you go out there fishing. We got in a little earlier than we normally do, so we went out on the Saturday that we pulled up and fished a little bit. And I think I caught more fish in that first hour and a half than I've ever caught collectively fishing with you and our dear buddy Chris.
Low bar,
in Lake of the Ozarks.
Low bar, but yeah, doesn't take much to do that. But hey, that's cool. And probably one fish length was also longer than all of the fish we've caught in Lake of the Ozarks together. You're catching some monsters up there.
Yeah, I'm sure we've said this before, but we do. It's a crappie tournament. It's a small garbage fish. You know, even a good one is a pretty small fish. It's just, it's a different game.
Well, I want to hear more about Canada, and I also, in the last week, I saw the Savannah Bananas, which I'm very excited to talk about. But Canada. So I guess you caught a bunch of fish. Any other big takeaways from your time up north?
Any other big takeaways from my time up north? Not really. You know, it was there's no tea, there's no drama. It was a pretty easy trip.
Good.
I got to watch my dad's high school friend drank about 75 Bud Lights a night. I cooked some nice food. Cool. My buddy Gordo came up. I taught him how to clean a fish, and he became a fish cleaning monster. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the episode before, but Nate knows this. But the lake that we fish on is on a Native Peoples reservation, so there's a lot of rules and regulations of how you fish there, because they can kind of tell us what to do, which is obviously their right. So anyways, if you decide you're going to keep a fish on this lake called Lac Sol, you have to kill that fish immediately. There's no stringers, no live wells, anything like that. So you have
It's a true nightmare scenario. It's some of the worst.
Well, your first one is real wild. So anyways, you with the northern pike that are basically dinosaurs, you have to whack them over the head with like this silicone mallet thing that they provide you, and with the other fish you kind of just snap their neck. I don't know if I have much flavor other than just like kind of watching somebody take their first life on the boat out on the water like that is, it's an experience that is singular. And by day 3 you're like, okay, let's go.
You're ruthless.
And also it's in the name of conservation, so it's easy to get there, at least for me it is. But it's ostensibly, it is meant to be almost a not humanitarian because it's fish, but like the idea is that what fish are people too.
What like people who are shitty about it might do is they'll have a stringer, which if you don't know, that's where you have all the fish like on a string and you keep them alive and you're just sort of dumping them in the water, pulling them out, dumping them in as you're moving along, or a live well, which is like basically a tank on your boat full of water. But no matter, and what some shitty people will do is they'll like, you can only catch 10 a day. And they'll put one in there every time they catch it. But then if they catch a bigger one, they're like, oh, they'll fish out one of their smaller ones and throw them back and things like that. But the reality is if you're doing any of that to these fish, they're probably going to die. Just the trauma of going in and out of these tanks or the stringer or whatever kills them. So in the name of pescatarian, maybe that, in the pursuit of being more animal friendly, if you decide you're keeping this fish, the decision is done and you're supposed to kill it right there. Which makes sense. I mean, these are.
I feel like I explained that. You just use 100 more words.
Yeah,
than
that's
I did.
what I did.
That's cool.
I think it's helpful context for people who don't give a shit about any of this.
That's very helpful.
But it is like, I think when you and I went, one of the first times was when they had just enacted this law. And
we had dowel rods on the boat. Yes,
it was literally a like sawed off broom handle at one point.
Yes.
I mean, it was truly nightmarish.
And I can't. These northern pike, like they are crocodile level.
Yeah, it's like
they haven't evolved for like 300,000 years. Their skulls, they are hard to kill. They are bad boys and girls. So now they provide you with this like. It's a fish killing weapon. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like this like hard plastic silicone whatever mallet and a couple of whaps over the head and lights out. But back when you and I were doing it, I feel like we had to get improvisational.
Horrible.
And
I mean,
it was
truly
a bloody mess,
nightmarish. And as someone who's like an animal lover and like all that, it's like some of the worst moments of my life. I feel like we're on the boat, even though these are like weird, like lizard monster things. But I'm glad that they've improved the technology to a rubber mallet. It's really, really gotten there. You need one of the Anton, old No Country for Old Men, like sort of
pneumatic cow,
a cattle
debrainer device.
Yeah. That might work. Well, okay. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you're back. And important fishing question. I always got to ask. Did anyone fall in?
No. Okay. But Gordo really, really, really almost fell in, and I was I was too far away to even pretend to help. So I was just kind of sitting back and watching. His little e-cigarette thing did fall in, which made me laugh.
Yeah, that's funny.
But no, that was very funny. We met some nice beavers. We found a family of minks that was living near the camp. They were very cute. I saw a bald eagle fight or mating session. I don't know exactly what was happening, but that was very exciting. An otter came up to our boat and said hello. Wow. So yeah, lots of critters out there.
Now, did it speak English or Canadian?
He just swummed away, Nathan.
Swummed away.
He swummed away with nothing to say to us. I think maybe I heard a "Oi, bruv," so I don't know if he's in from out of town or something. Okay. But
yeah. Well, cool. Well, while you were out doing that, I saw the Savannah Bananas at Bush on Friday night, and man, I gotta tell you, Hambone, it was it exceeded expectations. I think they're pretty well known at this point, but I have. Somewhat purposefully avoided really looking at anything about what the game experience
You kind of avoided looking at most things, right? But that's not by choice.
Well, there's between my genetic eye condition and also my desire to never be spoiled for anything, I don't look at a lot of things. So I'm like, okay, I know they're wacky. I know there's a guy on stilts. That's kind of the extent of my full understanding of it. And shout out to a friend of the show, Joe, who he won the lottery twice. Him and his wife, they both got selected in the lottery, whereas I was not selected at all. But he allowed he sold me and Molly 2 of the tickets, so we went on Friday night. And I gotta say, man, it was an absolute blast. It was. To some degree, what I was expecting, but even more fun and even more silly than I expected. One thing it's a chaotic environment 100% of the time. So mostly because they have music playing the entire game, but not just like tracks. It's not like there's a DJ just playing full tracks. It is 2 hours straight of basically 15-second clips of songs.
I would hate that.
Think walk-up song length, right? Because sometimes it seemingly is the guy's walk-up song, but it is 15 seconds at most. It's going from like hook to hook to hook, but also mixing in like old fast food commercials and some children's music, like Baby Shark and things like that.
I'm kind of hating this.
But for what it's worth, because that to me, I like that is both kind of my entire existence of just always having a song like stuck in my head, rapid fire, just music's always playing. So in some ways I'm like, I'm very comfortable in that environment. In other ways, it's like impossible to focus on anything because it's just constant stimuli. You've got guys, shirtless, very ripped young men dancing everywhere. You've got music.
Right, I'm back.
I know. You've got music playing. You've got multiple mascots. The banana mascot Split, which is which I would actually say is like a combination of Rapid Man from your favorite footy team, and
Go Pids.
Yeah, he's like a banana, a super ripped banana. But the whole shtick was like standing awkwardly in places. So like. Split was out in the batter's eye, just sitting for like 40 minutes, just sitting on the batter's eye while like chaos was around them. And they do a lot of fun little games. Like one good bit they did is they're like, we know Clydesdales are a huge thing here in St. Louis. So we thought we would do a Clydesdale race. But unfortunately, there's no Clydesdale available to us. So we've got a guy named Clyde and we've got a guy named Dale, and we're going to make them race, which was really funny. And they're doing a lot of this stuff like while the game is going on, which is really funny. I saw probably one of the most astonishing things is a guy on the Bananas in game was catching active fly balls, like hit off of the opposing team while doing a backflip. Truly amazing. Like and they had other little tricks like that, lots of bouncing the ball up in the air instead of catching it. Stuff that like, you might think of like with the Harlem Globetrotters, who I also saw in the last 6 months. And I would say comparing the two, Harlem Globetrotters was kind of disappointing in the moment. I big respect for their whole history and everything, but like the going to the game, it was fine, but it wasn't like Bananas blow it out of the water. It's a significantly more exciting and like engaging experience than what the Globetrotters are doing. And I think partly because they are actually playing baseball, like there's a lot of wacky rules. There's a lot of silliness going on around it, but they make it clear like everyone playing is actually trying to win, and it's like a full game. So, there was a couple of home runs.
Well, kind of. It's got a time limit on it.
Yes, but they actually got through the game before the time limit ran out, which was kind of surprising. So I don't know. It was a lot of fun. The one thing I'll say, if you're going, it might be too late for most of you, but if you're going to a game and and you're able to select your seats, you should absolutely prioritize seats that give you a view of whatever your stadium's like Jumbotron big screen sort of thing is, because a lot of the comedy is these guys have tons of choreographed dances that are meant to be viewed through the barrel of the camera. So it's like they're like a lot like almost like Backstreet Boys style stuff where they're like going in and out of the screen, highly choreographed. The cameraman is choreographed. It's like tiny little music videos that are happening up on the screen because a guy hit a home run or whatever it might be.
Sure.
Ton of fun. And last note I'll say is I was at the game where Adam Wainwright came out and he pitched a full inning. He got hit around a little bit, but he managed to not give up any runs. I was thinking like a lot of these guys when because they're all as far as I understand, mostly they're all people who were professional baseball players but didn't quite make it all the way through. So a lot of these guys, probably Waino was at peak when they were like 10 to 13. So I think probably a lot of these guys were like, I want to get a hit off of Adam Wainwright, you know. But it was a lot of fun. So technically, I have now seen his last time pitching at Busch. Although maybe he'll come back for another Bananas game in the future. Lance Lynn was at the Saturday night game.
Right. Yeah. That all sounds interesting. I don't want to come off like a grouch. I need to see it in person myself to really level a judgment on this. But I've been becoming a little more skeptical of it. But I should see it in real life. I won't be a party pooper right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is I can't decide because they actually are playing a game and both sides are trying to win. And the rules are wacky, but it's more like what's happening around them are wacky. The rules of the game outside that, like, there's that if the fans catch a foul ball, that's an out. Right. That's wacky. And there's a rule where
I think that rule is good. That's fun.
Well, there's another rule that I thought was really interesting where there are no walks, but if you have 4 balls, you can run as the base runners can run as far as they can go before every member on the defense touches the ball. And that sounds, and I was excited about it because I was like, that sounds like chaos. Like they're going to be throwing the ball around and people are going to be running everywhere. But the reality is that they've been doing this enough that the defenses have found like an optimized way of handling that. The minute there's the fourth ball, the entire team converges around second base and they basically hot potato it around to the degree that we never saw anyone go past first base. They would just run to first while the defense goes.
Including the outfielders?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, no one ever made it to second. Now, where it mattered, though, was that it happened one time when there were runners on second and third. And those two runners...
bases were then open.
Yes, and the runners were able to... The both guys scored from second and third.
Sure, that makes sense.
But no runner from home, like the batter, no one ever made it past first. I think partly because everyone huddles there at second base, which I assume is part of the strategy is that like they hot potato it there so that it's a central point everyone can get there faster. But also if someone does try to go for second, you're right there with the ball so you can tag them, which was interesting. But the reason that was interesting to me is that like this whole thing is wacky, but they've like optimized from a gameplay standpoint how to handle that situation, you know? So they're
you think they've optimized how to handle the situation?
I think like what they've done is the situation, Hambone, it's been optimized, which is pretty cool.
Can I take another week off?
Maybe we both should.
God.
Let's just have Daniel do the show by himself next
week.
Please.
I'm retired.
Which shout out to Daniel again for hopping on the show last week. It was fun to chat.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Daniel, for replacing me for the week. I do appreciate that. I did get Mike Matheny slightly before him, but only on that same clue.
Okay.
On that same clue.
Okay. I was wondering. I thought that one would be easier, but I know he like despite his history, he's almost been like him as a player has been like forgotten in Cardinal zeitgeist because of him as a manager, which is interesting.
Well, when I think I was brushing my teeth while I was listening to that part, and I was thinking through it, and it was I got it a little bit before him, but when the Brewers, I was thinking Matheny was kind of clicking in my head, but then I remember the replay, which I believe you referenced when he gets hit in the mouth and spits out blood and walks to first base. He was a Brewer when that happened, and that kind of like clicked into frame, and I just got it slightly before him, but I felt good about that. I also wanted to say about last week's episode, I think that we should have a segment where we talk about something that your kids are bad at every week. Dumbass.
Whatever. First of all, I'm glad to hear you're brushing your teeth now. So that's cool.
It's all about growth.
Yeah. You know, we're changing. Fuck you, I guess. That's how I feel about that. All right. We got a tight show today. We got a packed show though. So we should get into some Cardinal discussion. What do you think, Hambone?
Yeah, you said it, dude. There's packed show. What do you want me to? I'm not trying to slow that down.
All right. Well, let's jump into some Cardinal news. So first, I think it's a bummer. This feels like how this season has been going. Is right when somebody who we're excited about starts to click and break out, there's an injury. So Nolan Gorman, who I really feel like was starting to show some consistency and establishing himself as someone that you have to have in the lineup. He goes on the IL with lower back pain. Sounds like it's not too concerning, but you always worry with a guy like that, it's like, it's a knock to the consistency, and he's going to have to ramp back up and all of that. But still just a big bummer to see him go on the IL right when he was, I think, really starting to do really well.
Yeah, this season is just really like ending in a way that's extremely frustrating. Gorman going to the IL and like you said, kind of taking the wind out of his progression and his sales. Newt Barr obviously being on the IL as well. And the season is kind of looking, maybe I'm being over dramatic. I don't know, but it's almost like, well, what did we learn about Newt Barr this year? Nothing really. Consistency is difficult. He had a really bad stretch, but his game is kind of the same, and he just maybe is never going to be healthy. Gorman, if you're not giving him playing time, he's not really going to be consistent. He starts getting consistent playing time, he starts to hit, and then he goes down. So it's just, I don't know. It's hard to. I also will like to share that I went to a Cardinals loss against the Rockies last night. So I'm feeling just really down in the dumps as far as the Cardinals are concerned right now.
Yeah.
There's like not a lot that I'm feeling super optimistic about right now. And we'll talk about that more as the episode goes on. But this whole season is really that first third, we were having a good time.
Yeah.
And then the second third was problematic, and it really seems like this back half or this back third is going to be stinky.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but it is hard to come off of a loss against the history-making Colorado Rockies and feel pretty positive, especially again after the real impact of the series against the Diamondbacks. I mean, if last night's game wasn't the nail in the coffin for the Cardinals being buyers and pushing for 2025 success, then I don't know what is, but it certainly seems like it's done. And Mozeliak and crew are seemingly pretty directly indicating that as well. And we talked about it a little bit with Daniel last week. You and I haven't talked about it, but like Ollie said relatively recently that they have seen enough to make decisions on these players.
What are you guys talking about?
Still pretty surprised by.
Yeah, so and I guess what does that mean? Because does that mean Jordan Walker is not gonna ever be a guy?
Well, but they're starting.
But
if that's the case, then they're not doing what they like. If the decision had been made that we know what we've got and Jordan Walker is not the future of the team, then I don't think they'd be playing him every day right now, but they are. So it seems to me like they have seen enough of Jordan Walker to know that they want to keep playing him.
By what metric has he done something to make you think that?
Well, right. But what are they? But if they've made their decision on every guy, and
we can say, I can say with confidence that Jordan Walker is a better outfielder than he used to be.
Yeah.
And I can say with confidence that he hits the ball extremely hard.
Yeah.
And those are really the only two positives I can say about what Jordan Walker has done this season.
I don't know if you look the last 5 games. He's doing pretty well.
Sure.
Hitting over 300.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, anybody can look amazing in 5 games. So, I want Jordan Walker to work more than I want any outcome on this team to come true. I want him to be the best player on this team. I think he has the potential. All I'm saying is that I don't understand how you can look at what's happened in 2025 on the field and say, yeah, we're good here.
Yeah.
I think the catching situation is confused right now. I think you don't really know what you have in Sachacy because you haven't really used him. Wilson Contreras' year has been weird. I think you could feel pretty confident that Ivan Herrera is a real hitter.
Yeah.
That's something that I can say that I've learned from this first 2/3 of the season. I feel very confident in Victor Scott's defensive ability and his ability to keep his offense, above water so that that doesn't go anywhere. And Mason Wynn is the man.
Yeah. I think you could throw Burleson. I think you could throw Burleson in the pile too of like, I think I think you can say now he is a competent major league hitter. Now he
against right-handed pitching.
Yeah. But even I haven't looked at it, but 2 or 3 weeks ago when you and I were talking about it, he was doing equally good against lefties. So I don't know.
So we looked at that. It was longer ago than that because I looked at it this morning and he is hitting 218 on lefties right now.
Okay.
And the numbers are bad.
Great. Good.
Yeah. But I agree that Burleson has established himself as a real threat against right-handed pitching, which is important because most pitchers are right-handed.
Yeah.
Many careers are made, like Jock Peterson is, he's been around for 12 years or so doing just that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to know. A lot of teams need that. The Cardinals, the way that they're built right now, probably don't need that, but we'll take it.
Yeah, which was my point earlier in the season on Burleson. So now we've sort of swapped. But yeah, so let's get a little more focused here. The trade deadline is 10 days away. And the in an interview recently, he said it's time to focus on 2026 and beyond. So I don't know if that means he's just going to take a step back and now Heim's taking over. I don't know how they're approaching this trade deadline from internal.
What could he possibly have to contribute to the team anymore if 2025 is ostensibly done?
Yeah, I don't know. He still wears the big pants though. But either way, we as a fan base, we're here again. It is the Cardinals are sellers. Last year they were buyers. It didn't really work out, but the last time we had a trade deadline like this was 2023, where the Cardinals did pretty well as sellers.
Sure.
It's a little.
They did not cut deep enough, which is, I think, why we are where we are today.
I agree with you on that too, but the return for who they did move has generally gone okay. We'll never know like who they could have gotten versus what they got, but I think we were okay with the moves that they made. So how do you? Well, let's talk about the assets that are at play for sure, right?
Yeah.
So it's mostly comes down to the bullpen, right? It's Maton, Helsley, and Matz are seemingly all valuable, have done a good job of establishing themselves at various degrees. Helsley, there's been ups and downs, but he's still Ryan Helsley. Any team would be happy to add him into their bullpen if they're going for it. Maton's been crushing him, and Matz has been very, very good too. So I'm assuming we don't know what this trade deadline market's going to look like, but and it's not the same trade deadline that it used to be. But at the end of the day, most competing teams are trying to improve their bullpen, and the Cardinals have 3 guys that would fit into the back end of most bullpens. So I'm like, there's another discussion coming about going deeper than that, but at the surface level, those 3 guys alone, I'm hopeful should be a pretty good net for the Cardinals over the next 10 days.
Absolutely. I think those 3 are your musts. We talked about if you want to extend Phil Maton for like a 2-year deal, something like that. I think that also makes a lot of sense. But I think you absolutely have to move Steven Matz, and I think you absolutely have to move Ryan Helsley. Maton makes a ton of sense, and I would be shocked if a team wouldn't be, not necessarily like blowing them out of the water for Phil Maton, but he's got to be one of the more desired arms on the market right now with where his year has put him at. There's a lot of teams that make sense. The Dodgers are clearly looking for bullpen help. They're clearly postseason bound. They have a lot of talent in their minor leagues. Could we pluck somebody away from the Dodgers who's maybe a few years away, or a starting pitcher with a decent future value rating for Matz and Helsley as a package deal? I think we probably could, because we know that the Dodgers want to win every year. They are win now for the foreseeable future. So it's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
And they need bullpen help. There's a lot of other teams that make sense too, but I would be. I think those the Dodgers and the Phillies are probably the two teams that I think are going to be most aggressively looking for bullpen help.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. I personally think if it ain't screwed to the fucking floor, let's move on from them.
Yeah.
Riley O'Brien, Kyle Leahy, John King, those guys should all be available as well. I think Jojo Romero, wouldn't mind him being the closer of the future, but honestly, if you get a good offer, let's burn this thing to the ground. We have some decent arms in the minor leagues. We found that you can get a Phil Maton for relatively cheap at the end of the free agency period. Like, you can rebuild a bullpen. It's not easy, but I think you need to take advantage of teams that are hungry for bullpen arms right now.
Yeah.
I do think, like, you're probably not getting a lot for John King. Kyle Leahy and Riley O'Brien, maybe you would. I mean, Riley O'Brien, he got hit around last night, but he still has a 100-mile-per-hour sinker.
Yeah.
And people like that.
I would be surprised if they move someone like Riley O'Brien. I do agree with you generally.
It's got a lot of control remaining.
Exactly. Now, I know the Phillies are specifically targeting relievers with control. And so if you can get back a legitimate asset anywhere else on the field for a reliever, I think you should definitely pursue it. I mean, look no further than the Brewers, who are currently in first place and have the second best record in baseball after an 11-game winning streak. They have shown time and time again that you can take advantage of these small sample size moments with your relievers and get back real value. I mean, I know Devin Williams and Josh Hader are not small sample size examples, but I guess I mean trading high value relievers with some control is not the worst thing in the world, because you can, if you're a good organization, and this is something the Cardinals have been pretty good at for a while now, is you can go and you can develop these relievers, you can find them for cheap, you can replace it much easier than you can replace everywhere else in the league.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I don't know. Like the Brewers did exactly what the Cardinals should have done. And I don't want to rehash this, but they traded Devin Williams going into this year, got a good return for him. The Cardinals held Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley's had a good but not Ryan Helsley type off or half season. His value is probably less now than it was in the off season. You know, you and I,
it has to be.
You and I had
it's
said,
just less time.
Yeah. You and I had said he should not have thrown a pitch for the Cardinals this year, and that has proven to be true. And the Brewers would probably be slightly better with Devin Williams right now, but it seemingly hasn't hurt them too much. So, anyway, I agree with you. I will be surprised if any relievers outside of those three go, unless it's a bigger package.
I think capitalize on Leahy makes a lot of sense. I also want to point out, like, Graceffo, I think, is starting to look like he's got real back of the rotation type stuff as he's kind of transferred to being a full-time relief pitcher. Like,
back of the bullpen.
What did I say?
Back of the rotation.
Back of the bullpen is what I meant.
It's funny that we say back of the bullpen is good. Back of the rotation is bad. I guess
it is funny that we say that.
It's funny that we say that. I guess it's because honestly,
it's kind of hilarious.
Honestly, they've optimized it. I guess it's because you've got where they go in the game, right? The starter goes at the start, so the top is good. The reliever goes at the back, so the back
you
is
cracked
good.
it. You cracked it.
Why do we park on a driveway and drive on a parkway?
You cracked it, my brother. Okay, I've been sitting on this for too long, but Nate, we just got breaking news.
What?
Did you see this?
No.
My phone just buzzed.
I'm focused on the show, Hambo.
Shut the fuck up. The Cardinals have designated for assignment
Eric Fedde.
Your favorite, Eric Fedde.
All right. Well,
just happened like 2 seconds ago.
I mean, I think we all saw that coming from last night's performance at Coors and also the last 3 months of his performance.
Yeah.
I mean, to do an in the moment post-mortem on the Eric Fedde experience, like, the trade made a lot of sense for the Cardinals last year, and I think they got what they wanted out of that trade last year. But the value of that trade was that you also had him for all of this year,
at a very low salary.
At a very low salary. And so with the way that it has gone, I think you have to say that this trade is a bust. But I think as far as process goes, it was a good trade in the moment. I think the real failure is similar to Ryan Helsley. The Cardinals should have made a clear and concise decision on the direction of the team this year and probably traded Eric Fedde in the offseason.
It is so clear. You had a guy coming off of 2024 that was a solid number 3, number 2 starting pitcher. And I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that he was going to outperform that this year, even if things were going right.
Yeah.
He put up 3.5 F4 last year. Did you really think he was going to replicate that? The odds of that happening and pitcher injuries and everything else, this is why we were screaming this. They were so low.
Yeah.
And we just DFA'd him. Tommy Edman is... He's doing Tommy Edman.
Yeah, he's taken a little bit of a step back, but also he was hitting like the best hitter in baseball. So no one expected that, but he's going to be a very good Dodger for the next 5 years or however long it was. But
I agree. Yeah. I want to be clear. I agree with you. The process was good. It was the timing and the
follow through,
unwillingness to make a real decision at the start of 2025 is why we are DFAing. What was probably a valuable asset. And then obviously the questions go into like, whose fault was this? Was this the Cardinals' fault for like, he had a great year last year. He had a great year when he came over. Did Fedde lose something? Is it in between his ears? Is it Cardinals development? Is it Cardinals game planning?
Yeah.
I don't have the answers, but I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, that would be something probably worth looking into for like a better, smarter podcast to like look at his underlying numbers from last year to this year and see, was it a skills degradation, or was it just a results?
He's striking out far less people than he was last year. He's walking almost twice as many people as he did last year. He's giving up more home runs than he gave up last year. He's getting fewer ground balls than he got last year. Just every metric is bad, or worse.
Yeah, I mean, both the eye test and the underlying metrics would prove that he really shouldn't have been starting for quite a while now. But that's a whole other thing, which is difficult to understand.
He also kind of had a little bit of like a Eeyore ass bitch thing kind of going on, like he was kind of being mopey, and I don't know if I was picking up, or maybe I'm just grouchy about how this whole thing is.
I know you're coming in, you're real grouchy today, but I also last night might have been the death of the 2025 St. Louis Cardinals. So I think it's kind of fair to be a little.
We're walking out of the stadium, and this drunk Cardinals fan who's wearing the longest cargo shorts I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, were they not just pants? At what point do shorts become pants?
They were shorts. I could tell you that. But he was just he was screaming at everybody with the Cardinals gear on. I'm calling it. That's Fedde's last start.
Yeah.
You're gonna see him at the dispensary tomorrow. He's done. He's done. It's over. Just yelling at people. Yeah. And while I hated this man, he was clearly right. So, I'm feeling a little down about our birdie boys right now.
Well, rip to a real one, Eric Fedde. He'll probably be picked up, right? Like
100%.
Someone
100%.
Like probably the Nationals or maybe the White Sox, who just had they get the money and the yayo. They bring it back, probably figure it out again. So it's done. I guess that's, McGreevy, who did very well in Coors, 7 innings, should have been starting from Mozeliak himself has said McGreevy should be starting. So I guess McGreevy probably just takes that spot and
I'm looking roster resource on Fangraphs has already been updated.
I love that. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
McGreevy is our number 4 starter for the time.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right. So we've talked about the bullpen. I don't think there's anyone from the starting rotation that you're trading. There's maybe this is very, very unlikely. There's maybe a chance someone would take Michaelis if they're just looking for innings, because he does have that thing where every third start, you might get a good start out of him. But he has also said he won't waive his no trade clause, which is.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
You know, like he's going to ride off into that cowboy sunset. He doesn't have a care in the world. He has millions and millions of dollars. Why uproot his life?
Yeah.
He's even if he let's say the Cardinals trade him to the Tigers tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's not playing a single postseason game.
Right.
You know, like
yeah.
Why why do I would do the same thing that he's doing.
So he's probably not moving. Sonny Gray has indicated he doesn't want to waive his no trade, so he's not moving. Outside of that, the Cardinals are not trading like Liberatore or something like that. So if we move over to the position player side, it looks like they might pursue an Arenado thing again. I know, like we've already talked about this with the Dodgers. That makes a ton of sense for them. I hate to say it, but there's talk that the Cubs might be looking for a third baseman. And now Matt Shaw has started hitting over the last week, so maybe that'll change their mind, but he's also been kind of streaky, so they're clearly all in, especially with Kyle Tucker becoming a free agent this offseason. I don't think there's much of a chance at all that the Cardinals would trade Arenado to the Cubs. That just almost never happens for funny rivalry reasons. But outside of that, I don't know how many competing teams are looking for a third baseman. It's a relatively stacked position, so I suspect that we will go into the offseason with Nolan Arenado as a Cardinal, but there is a chance, I suppose, that he's moved.
Yeah, I do think that a couple of teams do make a lot of sense. The Philadelphia Phillies could trade for Arenado. They're not getting really much of anything out of Alec Bohm, so you could essentially just have Alec Bohm's bat, but one of the best third basemen defensively in baseball. And then the Yankees, they dropped DJ LeMahieu. This is 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. They don't really seem to want to start Jazz Chisholm at third base. They seem to want to have him either in the outfield or second base, which I think makes a lot of sense. He's doinking dongs like crazy. Mm-hmm. I think the Yankees or the Phillies could make a lot of sense, and those two teams have gotten some of the worst production in baseball out of third base. Outside of that, I do think the Cubs make sense. I kind of thought, we talked about this 4 months ago. I thought it made sense at the time, but just because of the DeWitts and the rivalry and everything like that, I agree. I think the odds of Arenado being a Cub are essentially zero.
Do you know, were they on his list? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I just don't think it would happen. Yeah. I don't think the Cardinals would even really entertain it because of weird kind of
we've talked about this
honestly
we've talked about this on the show before. There's a part of me that really gets that from just like, they're your rival, don't trade them, don't help them get better, but also like there are times what better thing to do in a rivalry than like get one over in a trade, it almost never happens.
We talked about like the Cubs in their offense has really been the star of the show this year, but I kind of still look at them as like a run prevention team. They have such a good defense. Adding in Nolan at third base and then having Matt Shaw kind of be a super utility guy. It makes a lot of sense. And the Cardinals would probably come out on top as long as they pick a prospect correctly.
The Cubs are against it. The Cubs are doing. I know when you're going for the push, you're kind of you're optimizing everything, but I think the Cubs are in a pretty good spot where they can. That the top of their offense is so heavily loaded, they can afford to sort of be developing a guy even in a push because he's a pretty good defender too. So I don't know, like, what would you rather have, like the 23-year-old who defends pretty well with heavy offensive upside, or the 33-year-old with almost no offensive upside anymore, but will be a Gold Glove third baseman? I don't know. Like and also will cost you $30 million or whatever. Well,
the Cardinals will obviously eat a good chunk of that salary for this deal to happen, no matter what. Yeah, I'll tell you. I think I personally, if I was running the Cubs, I would prefer to have Nolan Arenado playing third base every day and Matt Shaw kind of
when you just simply say the sentence like, do you want Nolan Arenado or Matt Shaw as your third baseman in a World Series push, like I think it's a pretty obvious decision. But
like,
yeah, I don't know. I could see it going
you're
either way.
you'd be releasing John Birdie,
Right.
and adding Nolan Arenado.
Yeah.
Like it just,
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. But I think, like I said, I think the Yankees or the Phillies are a real contender, and also the Astros. We learned today that Isaac Paredes' injury is going to take him out maybe for the remainder of the season, but definitely for a while, and makes you wonder. Arenado essentially said that the only reason he didn't approve that trade at the time was because he was unsure of the direction of the club after the Kyle Tucker trade. Now, of course, you look at them and they are in first place somehow in the West, just plugging away, being the Astros. So maybe Arenado waves it now. Maybe the Astros are still motivated because even if Isaac Paredes comes back, he's a guy that can play first. He can play second. You can kind of move him around, even just DH him if you want. Yordan Alvarez seems like he's never coming back. So, they have room for him.
Yeah. And they've obviously shown an interest. The trade was at the finish line before Arenado declined it. And if you're Arenado right now, and you're thinking, do I want to be a Cardinal this year and next, or an Astro? I guess that's 2 more years. It'd be hard not to pick the Astros. They've also made the playoffs 20 years in a row now. It feels like
you want to play in the playoffs, go be an Astro. That's been a matter of fact since 2015 or something, or 2016,
somewhere around there. Yeah, and they're doing it this year. It's a good team still, but it almost feels more like it's because no one in the West has been able to put it together. Everybody just keeps collapsing.
That and Hunter Brown is legit.
Yeah, he is very good. I mean, they're still a good team. Altuve has had a full bounce back. He's hitting the ball really well again. It's still a good team. Paredes was doing well for them before he got hurt. Kind of a perfect ballpark for him. Big lift and pull guy, and that ballpark's exactly right for him. So yeah, I don't know. You're right. That would be. There's certainly a couple options. I think I've said...
Can Mo get it done?
Probably not.
Friend of the show.
I guess this is more a nebulous thing, but I hope someone else from the starting lineup is traded. And I don't really even care who at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I would love is for them to make space for JJ Weatherholt, even if it means he's not called up until next year. I don't necessarily mean they need to make the space and bring him up right now. If they want to take their time with his development at the minors, I'm fine with that. But if we go into 2026 with this exact same cast of people on the lineup, because almost all of them are under control for years. There's no one who in the lineup who's leaving this year. Then there's going to be the exact same thing next year. So maybe you can package a Burleson and a Ryan Helsley and get to a contender who could really optimize. Word of the day. A left-handed bat who's crushes righties, and a back of the bullpen guy. You could see a pretty good return for that. And now that opens up another spot in the lineup. We've mentioned, I would hate it from a vibes perspective, but Brendan Donovan kind of makes sense to be one of your top trade candidates right now.
Yeah. I know.
He's the best player,
think
so it's hard.
I do think one of the lefties needs to go.
Yeah.
That is kind of where, and unfortunately, Gorman and Nootbaar are hurt right now, so that really hurts their active trade value. But yeah, I mean, you think about Burleson trading him over to the Phillies with Ryan Helsley, and I mean, I think we heard, maybe Kelsey brought it up in the Bird Squad, but somebody in Philadelphia media was talking about trading Mick Abel for
I thought about
a package like that.
Mick Abel too.
And that's a guy with a big time fastball, starting pitcher that the Cardinals could conceivably start in the majors next year. I think if that kind of deal is out there, you absolutely have to entertain it. And I like Burley. I like Burley hitting well, but one of these guys has to go.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, we're forced. And Donnie makes a lot of sense. but I just can't. I
I
can't see
know,
it right now.
Well, it's the head and the heart sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I also want to.
The Rays would trade Brendan Donovan. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Man, we've talked about him a couple weeks ago. But if you're not looking at what Joshua Baez is doing in the minors right now, then you're missing out. Like, it's like full breakout stuff. So it's another guy that we're going to want to see at the major league level, hopefully relatively soon, with this upside that we haven't seen from a lot of guys from the Cardinals. So like, I don't know, like part of me wants like, this is now what, the third year in a row with essentially the same sort of cast. There's bits and pieces that are different, but every year we're like, the offense could or should be good and it's fine, but it's not next level, the kind that you need to win the division or make a real playoff push. And so I don't know, can we clear house a little bit and make space for a Weatherholt and a Baez and when Jimmy Crooks eventually, or I mean, this guy's super young, but Rhinel Rodriguez is also crushing down there. So like, there's interesting young guys that will give you a different look than what we've had for a couple of years now. And some of these guys, Burleson and Donovan, have real value, and could that value could be repurposed into a part of the team that needs it, essentially the starting rotation.
Yeah. How many home runs would Alec Burleson hit at Yankee Stadium?
Right. Yeah. And I know Goldie's been slowing down over there, which is not that surprising. I mean, he had like a 1+ OPS for like the first 2 months, and no one saw that keeping up. But like, he's been slowing down, so maybe they could get another bat to spell him a little bit. These guys would return something. The Cardinals just need to make a decision and do it, or trade everyone around them. If you're not going to, then maybe we trade JJ for a young starting pitcher. If you're not going to make the space for him, then trade him for what you need. If you're committed to the guys at the major league level, I don't think that's the right call, but you see what I'm saying. Like,
pick a lane.
Yes,
pick a frickin' lane and go with it. Yes, I agree.
Okay. I don't know. Anything else trade deadline? I mean, in between now and next week, it's probably going to be a pretty heavy week, but most trades don't actually happen until like right up to the deadline. So I'm not expecting any major things, but we should get some more clarity from Mazalek and crew, hopefully, over the next week. But anything else on the trade deadline you want to talk about?
No. I thought that somebody might grab Fedde, and they'll probably grab him now as he goes through waivers.
Yeah.
But kind of a bummer just the way that one worked out. But yeah, let's move on.
Okay. So despite the season being essentially over for the Cardinals from a playoff standpoint, I guess let's talk about some of the results from the last week. I think we were talking about this in the Bird Scored. For a while, the run differential was looking pretty good, but this recent spell has brought it all the way down to a +2.
I mean, those 3 games against the D-backs just that'll clear out a lot of work right there.
Yeah. The D-backs, a team. They're like the mirror Cardinals. They're going into the trade deadline. They needed everything to go perfectly to maybe be buyers, and they're crushing it. And they might now be buyers, and the Cardinals are collapsing and are basically out of it. They're doing what we wanted the Cardinals to do. And so good for them, I suppose. They're a fun team. And if you're a Diamondbacks fan, that's a lot of fun. But the run differential is now barely positive, +2, essentially a 500 team, which is right around where the Cardinals are, which is right around where they were last year and the year before, although the not in the standings. But anyway, and it basically all comes down to the starting pitching, right? Like, this has been the collapse that has resulted in where the Cardinals are now, right? I mean, is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, they have. Should I spit out these stats,
Sure.
Nate?
Sure.
Since June 22nd, we're recording on July 23rd, so essentially the last month of baseball. The Cardinals have the worst starting pitchers in MLB. Over that time, their starters' ERA is 6.66. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
They have,
Just keep going.
okay.
You keep talking.
Okay. I was trying to. I was really not picking up the melody you were throwing
What,
down, but I
what do
got
you
there.
mean?
I got there. I got
Okay.
there. Crazy Train. Let's go. They have the 28th fewest strikeouts over that same time. They have the 29th worst home run per 9 rate. They have the second worst FIP. However you slice it, Nathan, they are essentially the worst starting rotation in baseball over the last month. And I think, we could dissect, Arenado hasn't been hitting the ball hard enough, or Mason Wynn got a little cold there for a bit, or New Bars went on the IL. It doesn't really matter. If you are giving up 6.66 runs per 9 from the starting rotation, you ain't going to win many games.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that had been working for the Cardinals for a lot of this season was that, starting rotation was mid to bad, at times excellent, but mostly mid to bad. But the offense was good enough. We were winning a lot of games late, right? A lot of comeback wins. And so now with a slightly slumping offense, there's no Band-Aid to that excellent or to that terrible rotation. And so it's all just falling apart basically, right? When
Yep.
I mean, it's a long season, this could have happened anytime. I think we all saw this coming and have seen it coming for a while now. But
yeah, we've been complaining about Fedde, Pallante, and Michaelis. That's a good chunk of the innings that are coming out of your pitchers generally, and it's hard to keep it up.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It won't happen. It just won't work. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
No one has ever made that work.
No. Pallante had a good stretch. Like all these guys have had little good stretches, but and I was getting ready to start talking like, okay, maybe Pallante's figured it out. Still wasn't really striking out a lot of guys, but was keeping the ball down. And that has fallen off again. McGreevy's look good. But Liberatore continues to be pretty good. And Sonny Gray is Sonny Gray, though. He got shelled in one of the, to have the worst overall rotation in baseball for a month, it kind of means everyone got lit up. You can't have anybody. If you have even like one really good starter, you're probably not the worst in the league. I know we all have confidence in Gray, but just it seems contagious right now. They're all getting lit
I'm
up.
not like worried about Sonny Gray,
right?
But we think he's good. Michael McGreevy, so far so good. I think Liberatore might be hitting a bit of a wall right now.
Yeah.
Which is understandable because this is the most innings he's ever thrown, and it's all been in the big leagues. And then, as we already talked about, those other guys, you and Daniel were talking about Pallante a little bit and kind of talking about doing a bit of a deep dive. So I did want to just kind of shed a little bit of light on something that I found looking through his numbers that I thought was interesting. Pallante, this is an oversimplification, and I think it probably bears more diving in, but something that I found an interesting correlation between his good starts and his bad starts. And really that is when you look at Stuff Plus, when his sinker, which is nice, it's hard, it dives, it's a real deal, a scary pitch. But if that pitch is not working, he essentially has a terrible start. Anytime, or essentially every time that Stuff Plus, the Fangraphs metric that basically measures how nasty your pitch is, anytime that his sinker was at 100 or above, he had a really good start, especially when it got to like the 110s, 115s level. 100 would be average. Anytime it was underneath that, he essentially got his ass kicked. So, it's funny. It seems pretty obvious, but if the sinker's working for Pallante, he has a really good start. And he gives up a lot of really weak contact. His BABIP is super low. All things look really good. And if it's not, he's not. And, consistency is the hardest part of being a major leaguer. I get that. And I guess it's just like, do you believe he can continue to throw a power sinker consistently or not? And if you don't, it might be time to move on from him or at least adjust the repertoire or something. But anyways, I found that interesting.
Yeah, well, I certainly feel like Pallante is one of those guys where now we have all of last year, we've got half of this year. Like, he is what he is, right? I know he's young. Development is not linear. He seems to have the stuff to be capable of being a major league starter. He's had stretches of it. But at what point do you pull the ripcord on this? I mean, I know it's not like the Cardinals have a ton of other options, but can we reasonably say if we go into let's imagine somehow the Cardinals don't acquire any starting pitcher options via trades or anything in the upcoming deadlines, that you're going into the year next year, like, are you comfortable with Pallante as a starter in the rotation? Like, do you want to run it for a third year in a row with him out there? Like, I don't think you can do that, barring an incredible last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be a change to the selection of pitches he throws or his pitch shapes or something.
Yeah.
I think relying on one pitch, sometimes the breaking ball is there, but relying on one pitch as a starting pitcher in baseball is hard because some days that pitch isn't going to be there and you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he's a guy they can move. Maybe someone sees something in him and they could trade him. It seems crazy to trade a starter right now, but maybe they could get something for him here at the deadline too. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about with the current performance of the team?
Really quick, I thought it'd be fun to debate. Who do you think should be starting at catcher, Pozo or Pages?
I know. I saw you ask this question, and my initial reaction was like, well, it's Pages, right? But I don't know. Just you posing the question has made me start to question that a little bit, because Pozo continues to hit the ball pretty well. I do think we know what Pages is. Pozo might have the higher upside, which feels crazy to say. And I think
Pozo's got a 132 WRC plus right now.
Yeah. And we need the offense. And I mean, I think both these guys are probably stopgaps until Crooks is ready. But you never know. You never know how a young guy will develop. Can we not just find a place for all of them? We
do need more catchers. That's a great point.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm kind of coming down. I think, like, we talked about this. Like, I feel very confident that Pages is a good defender.
Yeah.
And probably a future manager at some point. He just has that energy to me. But I don't think he's a good hitter. Yeah. I don't think he can hit. And that's okay. You can carry a defense first catcher all year for sure.
Many teams
but I'm just wondering if we're at the point where, let's see what Pozo can do for these final 2 months. Can he really maintain a 130 WRC plus? Is he that guy? Can he manage catching all these games? I don't know. He's here. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, he's got one of those approaches, like some of the swings he takes and some of the contact he makes is just wild, and then every once in a while, he also hits a fucking bomb, which is
absolute tanks. Yeah.
Which is fun. So I don't know.
I'm not trying to pop shots at anybody or their body or anything like that. But I noticed on the scoreboard last night that Pozo was listed at 201 pounds, and I just don't believe that number. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because muscle weighs a lot, and there's no way he could only be 200.
I'm not saying anything about the makeup of his body or anything like that. I just don't believe that number is all I'm trying to say.
All right, let's move on. We want to talk about some upcoming series, some league news, and other things like that. But before we do, we want to remind everybody that this show is listener supported on patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. You can join the Patreon. Join the Patreon.
Yikes.
And get access to our private Discord server. We call it the Bird Score. Tweet, baby. It's a very active and fun environment with Cardinal fans and listeners of the show. It's a great place to stay connected to the game without having to deal with other social media and hang out with us. So I definitely recommend it. Subscribers also get access to early episodes. Depending on what level you subscribe at, you might get a free t-shirt. Lots of cool stuff. So we would love it if you would check it out. And if you can't do that, we also love it if you are able to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform, or at least tell your friends. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
Yeah, we're on all the socials. We're at Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. We got a TikTok. You can listen to this show on Spotify if you prefer. You can watch this show, full video of Nate and I gabbing on YouTube. You can find us over there. You can find all of the podcast information, T-shirts, and more at talkingaboutbirds.com. You could email us at talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And, of course, you can call us and leave a voicemail or send a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
And I want to give a shout out to new patron, David. David, thank you so much for joining the Patreon. We appreciate you.
Hey, David.
Hey, David. All right. The Padres come to St. Louis for 4 games. The Padres, ostensibly a team that we're competing for a wild card spot, currently sitting in one. But I think everyone kind of knows the Padres at this point. They have been deep in the, in the hunt for a few years now. They've got some real star power. Fernando Tatis. Manny Machado just hit his 2000th hit, likely future Hall of Famer.
For sure.
Up and down, the team is pretty good, and they seem to be playing pretty well right now. What are you expecting to see from the Padres?
Yeah, they got a lot of pitching. I think that's the big difference from the years that we've seen them in the past. We're going to see Yu Darvish. We know Yu Darvish. Nick Pivetta will be starting game 2. And he has had a really, really nice year. What a great pickup that was in the offseason.
Yeah.
Then we'll see Randy Vasquez and Stephen Kolek. And outside of that, I mean, their bullpen, Robert Suarez is one of the best closers in baseball right now. And they got great arms kind of all up and down. Wandy Peralta still doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like he has been around forever. But yeah, just a lot of good arms to go along with the kind of superstars that we all know on the team. Xander Bogaerts has finally turned his season around, which is very good for them. Luis Arias, is, a freak, a one of one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a good team. Jackson Merrill hasn't really been going right now. Maybe he'll turn it on. Hopefully not. But yeah, they're a good team playing well with great pitching. So I expect them to kind of have a really nice back third of the season and at least take a wild card spot.
Yeah, and with Mike Shildt at the helm,
Old Shilty.
If you remember last year, too, so there was that really dramatic series between the Dodgers and them in the first round of the playoffs, and it was, really close. It was a lot of fun. And then the Dodgers just, swept the rest of the playoffs without much concern. And the Dodgers went on to say, we really felt like that was the World Series. That was the series we were most worried about. And I think rightly so. I mean, the Padres are very, very good. It doesn't really show up in the standings right now. And Tatis has had an up and down season, but he's got that he's from a raw skills standpoint, there's few better than him.
I bet on him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that, the kind of streaking Marlins come to St. Louis. This team has been one to kind of laugh at for a while now, and teams have stepped over for a while, and the record right now still not great, but I know they're 6 or 7 games over 500 over the last 2 months. So ostensibly playing better than the Cardinals. They've got some young players. Some of their pitching is back and healthy. Edward Cabrera has been pitching really, really well. Their new catcher, Agustin Ramirez, has absolutely been crushing the ball. He's
a baller. Yeah, I like him.
He's I don't know if he's the front runner yet for Rookie of the Year, but is definitely in the mix for it. So the Marlins, again, they're easy to laugh at. They'll bungle this somehow, it feels. But they're playing really well, and this isn't a series that the Cardinals can just sleep on if they're intending to win.
Yeah, Yuri Perez is back in the mix and is pitching really well. He is. I know you like him. He is one of those guys that is going to win at least a Cy Young at some point. Sandy Alcantara, will he be on this team by the time the Cardinals face them? I don't know. That seems like a big question mark. But yeah, I mean, they are young and, dare I say, hungry.
So
yeah, they're
what
an
a slogan.
interesting team. with a lot of fun players. They're playing pretty well right now. I think Kyle Stowers is legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a good defense, and yeah, they're they're not the easiest team to face right now.
Well, we're back in that weird spot too, Hambone, where if we're done with 2025 as a competitive team, you're
retain Eric Fedde and let him start every fifth day.
Well, like what? I mean, really, like I know the draft pick is a lottery system, but the worse your record is, the higher your chance for a higher pick. You and I haven't talked about Liam Doyle on this episode yet, and I think we'll do a deeper draft dive later in a few weeks or two. But like,
he looks good.
Yeah, we've been pretty happy with these high-end draft picks that the Cardinals have made, at least so far. So like, if we're truly optimizing for the future, like we're not really wanting too many more wins, So
yeah,
it's
hard to argue.
Yeah, it's a weird balance. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. So some home cooking here over the next week. Should we get into some league news?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, what do you want to talk about first?
Finally, somebody signs David Robertson. The Phillies bring him in. We were talking about how their bullpen needs help.
Yeah.
They bring in somebody who I've been kind of evangelizing for all season.
Yeah.
They're bringing him in at $16 million. It's pro-rated, so I think he's going to make around $6 million to end the season. But this is the most no-brainer of all season. I cannot believe it took this long for somebody to sign him. And I guarantee you he has a great back at the end of the season with the Phillies. So they go and get a guy and shore up that bullpen a little more for the postseason.
Yeah, it works out for him too. I have wondered, because it's been pretty surprising that no one signed him, and he was pretty good last year. But I wonder if he was kind of, he's 40 years old, so maybe he's thinking like, well, I'll wait a little bit and I'll sign with a contender. We've seen some veterans do that. So kind of works out. Assuming he pitches well, this is going to work out really well for both sides, because still pretty good chunk of change there for half a season's work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
he pretty good.
Yeah.
We already talked about it this episode, but the Brewers went on an 11-game winning streak, and they are now tied for first place in the Central. I don't know who I'm rooting for, Cubbies or Brewers. I guess maybe the Brewers, just because I have a little less hate for them. But it'd be kind of fun to see the Cubs fall a little bit, just because they've been on top for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the devil you've always hated, or the devil that's been around more recently.
Yeah,
that classic phrase. The devil you've always hated, or the devil that's been around more recently.
Yeah, I thought it worked better the second time you said it.
Yeah, thank you. I really I optimized it. Thank you.
Jesus. Rich Hill pitches for your Kansas City Royals. Record-tying 14th Major League team. And by the way, Nathan, he went 5 innings against your Cubbies and only gave up 1 earned run. You'll love to see it. We have a 45-year-old in Major League Baseball right now, which is just, that's good TV right there.
Yeah, he'd be the Cardinals' number 2. It'd be great.
Yeah. Another guy maybe the Cardinals should have signed, or maybe not. I don't know. I won't stand too proudly on that one.
Yeah.
And then last piece of news I wanted to talk about, and I cannot wait for next week because I think we're going to have a lot of trades to talk about.
Yeah.
But maybe my favorite piece of news from the week was a fan dove into the basket at Wrigley Field to check a Jack Caglione home run ball. And I'll just say, that guy has a lot of confidence in that basket. I don't think I would have done the same given the opportunity.
We've been really frustrated by a lot of fan behavior over the last few months with interference in the game and things like that. And there's also been some tragedy with some fans and whatnot. Yeah. This is what we're here for, though, putting it all on the line. You know what I mean? Just to get a rookie's third or fourth home run ball or whatever it is.
What's so funny to me is that they're a stadium known. They are famous for throwing opposing teams' home run balls back onto the field of play as an act of disrespect. And yet this fan dives into, I would think you would get injured from this, risking his own well-being into a basket that does not look like it can hold people for an opposing team's home run. So it's just good for him. Fascinating. People are amazing.
Good for him. All right. Well,
That's all I got. Yep.
Okay. We're going to wrap this up with a real quick game. Hambone, I saw the Savannah Bananas, and it reminded me yet again of how funny AAA and just independent league ball team names can be. So I did another deep dive, and I've got a list of names. Some of them are real. Some of them are fake. You have to tell me, is it a real team name or a fake name? In another game of AAA or ah. All right.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Hambone, the New Orleans baby cakes.
New Orleans baby cakes. So obviously in New Orleans, they eat the king cake that has a baby in it. But wouldn't they call it a king cake unless that's trademarked rather than a baby cake? Seems like bad branding. I'm going to say you made that up.
That one's real, Hambone.
Damn, what?
Yep. New Orleans baby cakes. All right. Wow. How about the Modesto Nuts?
I know that one to be real. Okay. That's a real one.
Yep, you got that one. How about the Delaware River Rats?
River rats. What the hell's a river rat? I hope it's not just a rat that lives in the river. That's a sad existence. River rats, Delaware. There's famous river there. But I feel like they would be the Generals or the Washingtons or something. I'm going to go with fake.
You got a Hambone. That one is fake. Yes. All right. How about the Lobster Roll Baseball Club?
It's so bad that I almost it should be shocking if you made this up. I had a really good lobster roll over the weekend.
Damn. I don't think there's a good lobster roll in St. Louis.
That is, I'm going to say it's real just because why would you even make that up?
That is real. It's like an independent team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went deep on some of these. These are, there's independent league names in this too. All right, just a few more for you. Macon Bacon.
Macon is a town. Georgia, I believe. I mean, it sounds like it should be a team. People like bacon. People in Macon probably like bacon. Macon bacon. You could make bacon in Macon bacon. Mm-hmm. You're making bacon in Macon bacon. Mm-hmm. At the Macon bacon game. I'm going to say it's a real team.
It's just going to let you lose my mind. Macon Bacon is real, as is the team name Macon Bacon.
It should be. I'm happy that's real.
You're crushing. I'm going to do two more for you. The Joplin Blasters.
Joplin Blasters. Why would you call your name the Blasters? Is Joplin famous for something that blasts? They're infamous, I guess, for a tornado. Is there more than one Joplin? I'm gonna say it's fake.
That one's real.
Really?
The Joplin Blasters. If anyone is a listener of the show and is aware of the Joplin Blasters, reach out to us.
I want a t-shirt.
I want a hat or something. All right. One last for you. The Great Lakes Dragon Boatmen.
Dragon boatmen. So I know the Great Lakes do have dragon boats. They're like duck boats. But the dragon boatmen, at least I think, am I making that up? Maybe I'm making that up. Dragon boatmen. Like dragon, like a fire-breathing dragon.
Roar. I got your treasure, et cetera, et cetera.
So on and so forth. Okay. Smog. Others.
Puff.
Toothless.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of famous dragons.
There should be. Yeah. I'm going to say that's real because it is nonsensical, and I don't. I'm going to say it's real.
It is real, Hambone. The Great Lakes Dragon Boatmen are real. All right. Well, good job. You got most of them right. You missed two. So that'll wrap up this game of AAA or and that's also going to do it for this episode of Talking About Birds. So thank you all again for listening, for being here. despite the Cardinal season going downhill, there's still a lot of stuff to talk about, and I think the show will still be a lot of fun as we break down future trades and whatnot. So stick with us. Tell your friends.
We'll still be here.
Yep. 3 years in a row now, not making the playoffs, but that's all right. We'll be here next week as always. And until next week, I'm going to say go John Mozeliak, do well in your last couple weeks in the job.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that. Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.